Berg, of course, being the agency, working with another agency called The Audience, Jeff Ginsberg and Samantha Cordingley. Let's start with you, Samantha. What is this project? What did you do?
We had Montarna Mcdonald, which is the director of the Audience agency, come to us with an idea. She'd worked for a lot of prominent PR agencies before, and she obviously had the network already, but she didn't have any clients. She's quite young as well. So she sort of came with all these different ideas about we want to be established, but we want to be young, we want to be fresh, we want to be social, but we also want to handle big clients and them to be confident that we can. So it was really just taking this sort of general idea and honing it into one really strong established brand that will stand apart, because the PR market in Sydney is quite oversaturated. So it was creating a brand that could really stand alone as this young, new, fresh, innovative way of doing things, but also to attract those big clients for the big budgets, obviously.
So maybe, Jeff, you can talk about this. How is it that through design you can actually help someone hone their strategy? Because you're talking about the design actually leading directly into the commercial outcomes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think design has this, I suppose, an overwhelming power to communicate a message. I mean, how do you take a logo, shapes and colours and kind of give that message across and get someone to recognise what you're trying to say, at a glance. So I think with the Audience agency, we delved in, we created mission statements as well. So we spoke about the Audience agency speaking for the people, to the people, really kind of putting them back down on the playing ground, the same as their target audience, which was great, which also then instilled the confidence in clients that they're going to use a company that's going to represent them the best way possible, because they're actually in cahoots with the audience. So, I mean, you can look at, they started working with clients such as Spotify and Tinder, and they're making huge leaps and bounds in the industry. And I mean, their identity has almost, I wouldn't call it a newspaper kind of header feel to it, but it is confident and it is bold, and then it's got these other aspects that are social, and they're really strong and prominent, fluoro yellows and the hashtag, which is a common symbol. But now when
you stole it for an agency.
We stole it, yeah. I mean, now when anyone sees a hashtag, they think of the Audience agency, and I know that they've received copious amounts of gifts and things, anything to do with the hashtag or fluoro yellow, and I guess that's the ultimate goal for us, was to make something that was remarkable, and people have been remarking on it for a long time. It's been great.
Which is interesting to me, because, I mean, at the end of the day, you want to create a point of difference, but by using familiar tropes and visual ideas and motifs, you can actually make that different, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of creating a brand that's strong and stands on its own, obviously it helps to put them in front of the competition. For a new agency, it also helped them hit the ground running. So they didn't just launch into an agency and go, okay, now we need to make a name for ourselves. They were really bold, they were strong right from the get-go. And obviously, familiar shapes and symbols are things that we can use, and they can be really powerful. I
know this is early days, but Samantha, what impact so far has the design, the visual identity that you've done for the Audience had on sales, on their marketability?
The first impact we saw was definitely from the initial launch. So they had... that was the main comment, actually, that their branding kind of was great and it was bold, and they got a lot of inquiries straight away. And then since then, they've doubled in size, I think, and brought on those big clients like heavyweights like Tinder and Spotify, David Jones, which I don't think they thought they would be able to bring in the first year, but that kind of strong identity. And also, like you said, giving them that document with all their branding so that they knew who they were and they were confident going forward, I think really helped. So I would say it's helped with that established feel, but also set them apart from all the other PR agencies out there. But I did want to say, like, with picking familiar elements as well, there is that risk where, like, we didn't just pull in a hashtag and go, we'll use a hashtag and this bright colour, so that it was like, wow, there they are. It's sort of like, obviously, we did handcraft that symbol, and we looked at the shades of yellow really carefully, because you do want it to also stand the test of time, not be something that's trending and it's going to go out of fashion in 2 seconds. So
you've chosen bold symbols, bold colours, I suppose, and to take on these kinds of almost sort of big ideas, I suppose. How willing were the clients to be taken on that journey?
Yeah, well, I mean, it takes a lot of courage to start a new agency in itself. So when they came to us, obviously there was a level of let's do this and let's do this right. So when we kind of, and it's not like we just threw a yellow at them like Samantha was saying. We actually went through a process and a methodology to get, so by taking the client on a journey and taking them through the process of what symbols work for the right reasons, we were able to, I guess, provide a colour that was really bold. They were very open to it because they knew the output and the point of difference that it would make, not just for them, but for the clients that they would take in the future.
Samantha Cordingley, Jeff Ginsberg, thank you. You guys are great. Cord and Berg, round of applause.